Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first ever Truth Bomb Tuesday.
Wow.
You can't really see that it says Truth Bomb Tuesday at Riverbend, but it does. Let's see. Can we do this? Nope, doesn't even work there. It says Truth Bomb Tuesday at Riverbend. We didn't have enough letters to spell Tuesday or Riverbend.
Yeah.
So we just have to improvise. I am here with the beautiful Taylor.
Oh, well, thank you. But I wouldn't say the most exciting because this is a talk show, not really a talk show, but this is a talk show about how it's difficult to be different. As in dyslexia, ADHD, oh my god.
Any other learning disabilities?
Any other learning disabilities, even anxiety.
Mm-hmm. So what we are going to talk about today, we decided we would do a Truth Bomb Tuesday series. Taylor and I had spoken a lot about, she was really passionate about speaking her truth. So that's what we're going to talk about today in terms of her journey discovering that she has dyslexia, and what that's been like, what she wants other people to know about it, and just in terms of her experience and what she wants people to know when it comes to this journey that she's been on. So I'm going to ask Taylor some questions. She's digging deep to be honest and powerful today. So I really appreciate that you're here. And I think lots of people will benefit from hearing your story.
I hope they do, because a lot of people just look at a girl or a guy and they're just saying, just because you don't have a broken bone or you can't physically see what's on the outside, and they think that it's okay to call you names and stuff like that, but it hurts even though you're not different, like physical difference than everybody else.
So I think she makes a good point in that learning disabilities aren't something that you can see. And like she's explaining, you can see a broken bone, you can see certain things on the outside when it comes to someone being in pain, but having a learning disability and going down the journey or having the journey of having a learning disability can be painful, especially in Taylor's case when for years she didn't know what it was all about. So Taylor, tell everyone a little bit about what it's been like, A, discovering that you have a learning disability, and B, what was it like before you knew?
Before I knew, I thought I was a total hot mess. Everybody would look at me when I didn't finish my test or I couldn't read a word. They would call me, wow, you can't read this, and are you dumb or smart? Because I don't even know. Like, before I didn't even consider that I may have a disability with reading, speaking out loud, and talking out in words to people.
Explaining yourself something that's
Yes.
really hard for you.
Which is even right now.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I know, it was quite difficult and emotional, because for all these years, you know, you're just like, I'm different now, and I didn't know that, and I went to so many things, as in, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't get tested. I did get tested, but they didn't give me something like, you have dyslexia, you have ADHD. They just said there's nothing wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
And what upset me was, because I knew there was a tiny bit something wrong and I couldn't quite pick it out.
Mm-hmm. So I think, and one of the things Taylor's always explained to me is before she knew, she just assumed that she was stupid. She assumed that there was something wrong with her, but it was her own fault. Giving it a name and calling it dyslexia this year for the first time, explain to us how that's felt when you knew that, okay, here it is, and this is what it's called, and how that's changed how you feel about yourself. Why has that been a good thing for you?
Now I know I'm happier, and I feel like I achieved something for once in my life. I even wrote something about dyslexia, a paper, and Albert Einstein said, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life thinking it's stupid. But everybody's a genius, even with dyslexia, ADHD, anxiety.
Isn't that amazing? Oh my gosh, my heart is filled with pride. I could bawl my eyes out, but I won't. And she's right. I think the empowerment that she's felt by naming it, and even doing your research. So what's it been like kind of researching dyslexia when you're doing your paper?
It was hard because I needed Siri to read some of the research to me, and it's like words floating around in your head, and you're just like, oh, yep, I have this, and this seems really true, and oh my goodness, this is like mind-blowing. I can't even explain what it feels like to know that there's this name called dyslexia or ADHD or something. But it made me happy that I knew what was keeping me from reading, what was keeping me from doing my dreams, as in singing, talking out loud, talking to people, and things like that.
What do you want people to know about you as a person with dyslexia, or just you as a person in general? What do you want to truth bomb us with today?
I'm going to truth bomb all of you with that I'm happy now the way I am. And I'm not going to let anybody else say names about anybody with any disabilities, because I think it's amazing to be this character that has dyslexia and still is doing good in grades and is able to do something in their life.
Absolutely. So Taylor, and I mean, we talk about this with all the students here, but dyslexia or a learning disability or ADHD, oftentimes people with those learning disabilities have what we call differently wired brains, right? So just because you struggle with a number or a word or letters and putting them all together, that doesn't mean you aren't smart. It doesn't mean you don't have a creative, capable brain. You really do. But we measure success, especially in school, by how well you do on a test, how well you read, how well you do in math. So a lot of times kids think, well, I can't read very well, or I can't do math very well, or I can't explain what I need to say, so I must not be smart. And we're here to tell you today, truth bomb.
Truth bomb, you are smart.
And that's not true. Okay, so if you are struggling with reading or you're in school, what advice would you give to a kid that has kind of gone through the same thing that you have, if they don't know yet if they have a learning disability?
Once you find out, I want you guys to write good things about yourself, and every day you put them in a jar and then you take one out and you read it to yourself, and you have to keep that word or sentence in your head and say it when you get home, lunchtime, and when you wake up.
Any stinking time of the day.
Yeah.
Many times a day, because that's another thing is Taylor's had to relearn how to like herself all over again this year.
Yeah.
And it's still a journey.
Yeah.
Right? Are you still hard on yourself sometimes?
No, definitely not. Yes, I am very hard on myself.
Is there anything else that you have that you wanted people to know about you, or that you wanted to maybe give as a piece of hope for somebody going through this journey?
Piece of hope. Mm-hmm. Well, my middle name's Hope, if that's good enough for you, but
it's totally meant to be.
I don't really have like a hope wish that I could give you, because if you just found out, that's as much hope as I can ever give anybody.
Very interesting. So that knowing is probably a biggest part of the battle.
Yeah.
Then it's understanding what your struggles mean to you. So how are you going to get over it? Because another thing we talk about a lot is, are you going to sit around and feel bad for yourself forever?
Maybe. No, you won't.
Why is that? We kind of talk a lot about how it's not necessarily fair that things are going to take you extra long. It's not necessarily fair that things are harder for you. But at some point you have to accept it and get over it a little bit, yeah. Right? Because what's going to happen if you sit around feeling bad for yourself all the time about having a learning disability?
Sorry. You're going to probably feel depressed and not want to do anything, but that's not, like, Albert Einstein didn't do that. I'm pretty sure he didn't. Mm-hmm. Famous people even have dyslexia and ADHD, and they still get up on stage or write books or read or talk out to people, and you can't just sit around just because you have this one tiny thing blocking you from your destination.
Come on. Truth bomb.
Well,
all right. Let me see what else was in our notes. What makes you different? What do you think makes your brain special?
My brain is full of sass and funniness and jokes and lots of things that I don't even know what it's about.
Oh, that's okay. It'll keep going.
But I don't even.
She is sassy, let me tell you. I teach her every day.
Oh,
and
cool.
She is hilarious. And she's an excellent performer. She has a huge heart, super kind. She made me this cup of coffee.
Guess what? That was a struggle, you know that? Because I have like a million things in my head, and I probably didn't even say a million, right? But
Yes, you did.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay. But that was stressful, but I still did it.
Small things when you have any kind of differently wired brain, sometimes the steps of things can be overwhelming, right?
Yes. Even like they told me to write down new vocabulary words for word work, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? I don't know. Like that is not in my universe of Taylor, and I need you to step it out a little bit for me.
So what's one of the things you find you really need to do as a person with dyslexia? I know you're talking about how things often for you feel overwhelming, right? So describe to somebody else who doesn't have dyslexia, what it feels like. That might be a good
It feels like there's a million words traveling. You know how on those movies there's like the girl screaming at him, the boy talking, the dog's barking, the baby's crying. That's what it feels like. It's overwhelming, and it's just sometimes it even makes you dizzy. Mm-hmm. And you can't focus, and then you just breathe or listen to music or write a little note of why this is happening. And just even writing or listening to music simmers it down for you.
Mm-hmm. So she's saying basically using some kind of coping strategy that helps you tune out the noise, helps you overcome being overwhelmed. Dyslexia, LD, any of that is going to feel different for everybody. No two people have the same experience with it, okay? But what she's saying, and she does this really well, for her, music is a big one. So
Yeah.
she'll put her tunes in, get focused on what she needs to get focused on. There's a chance that feeling overwhelmed might be something you feel all the time. As a person with ADHD, I feel it every single day. However, I've learned strategies over the years to stop, break down things chunk by chunk. I call them micro units, right? Micro successes, little baby small steps towards your end goal, because if you try and do the whole thing all at once,
it's gonna go in your face and you're probably gonna fail. Even though fail is not a bad thing, it just means learning over again how to do it, I guess.
the crew has returned.
The crew, yes.
So thank you, Tay Tay.
You're welcome.
This was a very successful first Truth Bomb Tuesday. Until next week.
Bye.